Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into Ghana's incredible entrepreneurship boom. And look, this is way more than just a business trend. It's a really powerful answer to some of the country's biggest economic challenges. So, let's get right into it. All right, here's what we've got lined up. First, we're going to explore why entrepreneurship is so incredibly important in Ghana right now. Then, we'll get practical and see how new businesses are getting started with hardly any cash. After that, we'll look at the amazing support system that's helping them grow. And finally, we'll meet some of the actual innovators who are leading this new wave. So to really understand what's happening, we have to start with a massive challenge. A challenge that isn't just facing Ghana, but really the entire African continent: youth unemployment. And the scale of this problem, it's just staggering. According to the World Bank, young people make up 60% of Africa's entire unemployed population. Think about that. That isn't just a statistic. It represents millions and millions of bright people with so much untapped potential. So this leads to the big question, right? With this huge wave of young people entering the workforce, the traditional job market, it just can't keep up. So where are the jobs, the opportunities going to come from? Well, the answer, according to study after study, is entrepreneurship. It's the small and medium-sized businesses, the local startups, the innovators, that are becoming the true engine for creating jobs and really pushing the whole economy forward. Okay, so it's one thing to say, hey, go be an entrepreneur, but it's another thing to actually do it. How do you start? Especially if you don't exactly have a ton of cash lying around. A lot of people think you need a huge bank loan or a fancy investor to get going, but that's really not the case most of the time. The answer for so many is a concept called bootstrapping. It's all about being resourceful, starting with what you have and just building from there. And it really boils down to three key things. First, save, save, save. Every single cedi counts. Second, start small. You don't need a perfect finished product. Just create a minimum viable product, an MVP, to prove your idea works. And third, live lean. Cut back on your personal expenses so that every bit of startup money goes as far as it possibly can. And here's the really amazing part. In Ghana, this is super accessible. So many successful businesses can get off the ground with as little as 500 to 5,000 Ghanaian cedi. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 40 to 400 US dollars. That is a total game changer. So let's look at some real-world ideas. Number one, local snacks and food delivery. People in Ghana absolutely love local treats. A business selling something like Kelly Wele or delivering home-cooked meals is tapping into a huge ready-made market. And you can get that started for just a couple thousand cedi. Or how about this one? As more and more businesses get online, the demand for social media help and SEO services is just exploding. For this, all you really need to get started is a laptop, a decent internet connection, and the know-how. The potential is massive. And then there's the mobile money business. Mobile payments, or MoMo, are everywhere in Ghana, so becoming an agent is a really reliable business. It takes a little more startup cash for the booth and float, but it puts you right in the middle of the local economy. Now, I know starting a business can feel daunting, maybe even a little lonely, but the incredible thing happening in Ghana is that you are not alone, not by a long shot. There's an entire ecosystem that's sprung up to help founders just like you succeed. And at the very heart of this ecosystem are innovation hubs. You can think of them like launch pads for startups. They offer co-working spaces, they share resources, and most importantly, they create a community of people who are all trying to build something new. They help turn a simple idea into a real, long-lasting business. A perfect example, and a real heavy hitter in the tech world, is Mest Africa. They run a full-on program teaching software development and business, and then they provide seed funding and incubation to help the best ideas take flight. But it's not all just about tech. You have specialized hubs like the Cosmos Innovation Center, or KIC. These guys are totally laser-focused on agribusiness, which is, of course, one of Ghana's most important sectors. And then there's InnoHub. They're what you'd call a business accelerator. They help businesses that are already up and running but need to get to that next level, helping with things like raising more money or doing market research so they can scale up successfully. And beyond these hubs, you also have these really dedicated accelerator programs. The UNICEF Startup Lab is a fantastic example. It's an intensive 6-month program designed specifically to help young businesses grow and increase their social impact. Okay, so we've talked about the hubs, the programs, the support, but what does this all actually look like in the real world? Let's put a face to this movement and meet some of the founders who are driving all this change. First up, just listen to this from Tini Agana of the Loosely Initiative. She says the program was instrumental and that they saw a remarkable increase in revenue and sales. That's not just talk. That's tangible proof that these support systems create real results. Her bottom line got better because of it. Next is Samuel Owusu from Brooks Technology. His experience points to something else that's just as critical, learning how to build the actual systems a business needs to survive. Things like managing finances, marketing. This is the stuff that helps a small startup become a professional company that's ready to grow. And finally, we have Matthias Charles Yabe from AcoFresh. And what he says is so important. He talks about how the program validated their mission, but also it connected them with partners. And that right there, that's something money just can't buy. These programs open doors you could never open on your own. So whether it's starting in a traditional market stall or building a cutting-edge mobile app, a whole new generation of founders in Ghana is building the future. They're creating jobs, they're solving problems, and they are reshaping the entire economy from the ground up. Because in the end, this entire movement, this whole boom, is built on one simple idea: people seeing a problem and having the courage to create a solution. So as we wrap this up, that leaves just one last question for you. What problem will you solve?